Four primordial deities descend upon the mortal realm simultaneously, all choosing the same boy as their follower. Just when everyone assumes his future will be bright, the boy punches each of them square in the face, then turns to become a divine armament, forsaken by all gods. At this moment, the boy stands on the awakening platform, staring in disbelief at everything before him, because according to what the books had described, after stepping onto the awakening platform and touching the ancient monolith, only one deity bathed in holy light would appear, choosing you as their follower, and granting you a class. From then on, you would follow this deity, slaying monsters and sacrificing their heart fire. Right now, the goddess of war gazes down at him arrogantly. Awakened one, I've sensed your dedication and devotion. Follow me, and I will grant you the glory of a warrior. Immediately, the ancient monolith emanates a gray light, and a totem of a broken greatsword slowly materializes in the air. A line of text appears before the boy. Option 1. Follow the goddess of war. Become a D-rank warrior. Basic skills: block, thrust. Talent skill: none. Seeing this, Xander shakes his head without hesitation, then turns his gaze to the second deity beside her. The next second, a totem shaped like a black blade suddenly tears through the void, appearing at Xander's neck, seemingly both a threat and a display of the void's terrifying power. Option 2. Become a servant of the void spirit. Become an S-rank shadow assassin. Talent skill: shadow strike. Ignore any barrier restrictions. Teleport behind the target from a distance to deliver a lethal blow. At the same time, under the mocking gazes of all the onlookers below the awakening platform, the ancient monolith suddenly erupts with a dazzling purple light once more. The crowd that had been chattering just moments ago instantly falls silent, everyone stunned by this scene. Purple light? That's the signature mark of an S-rank combat class. Principal Roland slams the table and shoots to his feet, his face flushed red, exclaiming excitedly, "Good lad, that's definitely an S-rank class. I told you this old man never talks nonsense." At the same time, the ancient monolith on the awakening platform blazes with light once again, and this time it's an orange pillar of light shooting straight into the sky. Xander's third-class option. 3 deities have all chosen him. At this moment, everyone in the venue stands frozen in place. There's only one reason for this phenomenon. Xander, who is in the middle of the awakening ritual, has shaken his head once again. The third deity is an old man with a cane and snow-white hair, ghostly blue flames flickering atop his bone-like cane. The old man looks at Xander with a hint of appreciation. Awakened one, I am the Netherworld King. Submit to me, and I will grant you the power to control life and death. What an overbearing tone, Xander thinks to himself. It seems even among gods there are hierarchies. The next second, a line of ancient white text floats before him. Option 3, submit to the Netherworld King. Become a triple S rank undead scourge. Basic skills: undead summoning, bone substitute, death bloom. Talent skill: underworld envoy. Become a subordinate of the Netherworld King. Summon undead servants with no limit. At this moment, those outside the awakening platform only see the ancient monolith instantly emit an orange light shooting into the heavens, and above the awakening ceremony plaza, billions of undead armies suddenly materialize across the entire Dragon Empire's sky, instantly alerting all the high-ranking officials throughout the Dragon Empire. At this moment, in the secret military zone codenamed Dragon's Keep, a white-haired old man in a military uniform covered with medals watches all this with a sharp gaze. General Morgan, good thing you acted quickly and sealed this scene in time, or this incident would have spread worldwide already. The person beside him, whom he addressed as General Morgan, is now drenched in sweat and gasping for breath. General Morgan's class is Elemental Illusionist. As one of the Dragon Empire's first-tier nation-defending generals, he just used every ounce of his strength to barely contain this phenomenon within the Dragon Empire's borders. Otherwise, this phenomenon would have swept across the entire world. Commander Sterling, who on Earth triggered such a terrifying phenomenon? General Morgan asks, while catching his breath. The white-haired old man simply nods slightly. I've already sent people to investigate. Whoever it is, the military will protect them immediately. Meanwhile, the leaders of the 4 great guilds are racing toward First Academy's awakening ceremony. After all, the Dragon Empire is about to welcome its second necromancer. This is an earth-shattering event. Even principals from major academies have rushed here. Yet Xander, who stands in the midst of the awakening ritual, remains completely unaware of the tremendous uproar he has caused in the outside world. The divine elder holding the bone cane calls himself the Netherworld King. The option he offers is the utterly irresistible SSS rank class, Undead Scourge. The Dragon Empire's previous one was merely a SS rank necromancer. Choosing the third option would mean obtaining a heaven-blessed start. Yet Xander gently shakes his head once more. He wants to see the final deity. Compared to the arrogant grandeur of the previous three, this fourth deity appears like a broken beggar. Yet the moment this beggar speaks, Xander's entire body trembles. Are you also a transmigrator from Azure Star? Xander's eyes widen in shock, but before he can ask his own questions, the broken figure speaks urgently. Don't follow any deity. This is all a conspiracy of the gods. We're all pawns, sacrifices. Gods can be killed too, and we can become gods ourselves. Then, the broken figure's body suddenly begins to slowly dissipate, and the next second, a line of text appears before him. Option 4. Reject the gods' gifts. Become one forsaken by all deities. Obtain an unknown rank class. Divine armament. Basic skills, none. Initial talent, fractured divinity. Though fractured, you can still receive sacrifices. Divine armaments can sacrifice the heartfire of any monster they kill to themselves, thereby gaining their attributes. The moment this option appears before Xander, he discovers something terrifying. A bizarre scene unfolds. Above the heads of those three deities, 3 health bars appear, colored from deep red to black. Their health measured in trillions, yet displaying so clearly above their heads. In this moment, Xander's worldview completely shatters. So gods have health bars too. So humans can become gods. Instantly, a fighting spirit surges within Xander's heart, and at this moment, his hands tremble slightly. He instantly understands the true value of the fractured divinity talent. Originally, humans cannot receive sacrifices. Only deities can receive sacrifices. Awakened class users can only kill monsters and sacrifice the monster's heartfire to the deity they follow to receive new skills, class advancements, and other gifts from the deity. But a fractured divinity is still a divinity, and possessing divinity means standing equal to these gods, equally able to receive sacrifices. So after divine armaments kill monsters, they no longer sacrifice to a deity but to themselves, and those monsters' attributes, talents, and traits all become their own. Although initially just a blank slate class, it has unlimited growth potential and can even become a true god. Thinking of this, Xander reaches toward divine armament without hesitation. At the same time, to recruit this promising talent Xander, the leaders of the 4 great guilds are all offering extremely generous terms. Yet even as they speak, another pillar of light shoots skyward from the ancient monolith on the awakening platform. A 4th class, Victor Kane, leader of the Blackhawk Guild, gasps sharply and can't help but exclaim. The ancient monolith actually gave Xander 4 class options. This is absolutely unheard of. As the 4th pillar of light rises to the sky, 1 gray, 1 purple, 1 orange, 1 black. Just when everyone assumes he will choose the SSS rank Undead Scourge, the next second, a nearly burnt-out torch circles Xander, once before merging into his forehead. Instantly, the entire venue erupts in chaos. The principal suddenly freezes in place, and the leaders of the 4 great guilds are all stunned in the spectator seats. Watching the last trace of black cloud above the awakening ceremony gradually dissipate, everyone's eyes reveal disbelief. That was a once-in-a-century SSS rank class. Xander, get out here! Principal Roland roars hysterically. In an instant, Xander transforms from everyone's favorite genius student into a pariah. On the awakening platform, the 4 deities and all the visions gradually fade, and the next second, Xander is teleported from the ancient monolith to an unfamiliar place. At this moment, a voice sounds in his ear. Notice, you have entered the trial tower. This is the final assessment for every generation of new awakened. Each level of the trial tower is a self-contained space. Only by defeating the guardian monsters on each level can you advance to the next. Open status panel, Xander calls out softly. After awakened obtain their class, they can view their own status panel. Then, all of Xander's data panels appear before him. I'm truly pathetically weak. Even Xander himself can't help but sigh. The divine armament class is truly like a blank slate. Its initial 4 attributes, constitution, strength, agility, spirit, all only have a pitiful 5 points each. Common talents range from the lowest gray, white, green, blue to higher tier purple and orange traits. The higher the grade of the talent trait, the stronger it is. Yet, Xander's fractured divinity trait is a blood-like eerie crimson. Sacrificing heartfire can complete the fractured divinity. I hope I didn't choose wrong. Xander grits his teeth, then selects a spear from the weapon chest beside him. Just then, the guardian monster of the trial tower's first level appears before him. Pointed head, pointed ears, skin a disgusting green, a humanoid monster called a goblin. Xander immediately recognizes this type of monster. These creatures maintain their population through powerful reproductive abilities, and though they're a among the weakest monsters. For Xander with his blank slate stats, he doesn't dare be careless. Xander grips his spear tightly and cautiously retreats several steps. 3 goblins appear before him, and if he gets surrounded with Xander's current frail body, he'd be killed instantly. At this moment, Xander backs up against a towering tree, the massive roots protruding from the ground, giving him favorable high ground. Now, the goblin charging in front suddenly attacks Xander, wielding a rusty iron sword. With a clang, Xander grips the spear with both hands and precisely knocks the iron sword from the goblin's grasp. Then, seizing the opportunity, he fiercely drives his spear through the goblin's body, killing it on the spot. Seeing this, the remaining 2 goblins attack Xander simultaneously, yet he remains calm, dodging with nimble footwork while using his spear to blot. Despite goblins attacking from both left and right simultaneously, not only do they fail to hit Xander, but their health bars are gradually depleted by Xander's continuous parries and counterattacks. 5 minutes later, 3 wisps of white light converge above Xander's head, and his level increases by 1. At this moment, weak flames appear on each goblin's body. Looks like this is the Heartfire. Without any hesitation, Xander immediately sacrifices these Heartfires to himself. After 3 Heartfire sacrifices, a pleasant voice sounds in his ear. Obtained D-rank talent trait, Savage. Strength attribute increased by 100 points. Xander's heart surges with joy. At this moment, with a full 105 strength points, Xander's attack power shoots up to 135. Is this what receiving sacrifices feels like? Xander involuntarily looks at the fractured divinity in his talent panel. Just a fractured divinity can produce such powerful sacrifice effects. So what about those deities with complete divinity, enjoying sacrifices from countless followers every day? Just how terrifying must their enhancements be? And all they give their followers are just some skills and class advancements. At this moment, Xander grips his spear and continues deeper into the jungle. The first level space is still vast, far more than just 2 or 3 goblins. Only by killing their leader can he advance to the next level. Soon, Xander discovers another small group of goblins. Xander only needs 1 strike to eliminate each goblin. Moments later, Xander has cleared all the goblins and his level has now reached 3. Just then, Xander discovers a sleeping orc goblin in the goblin settlement. Clearly, this guy is the mini-boss of the Trial Tower's first level. So Xander lightly tosses a small stone he picked up along the way, drawing out several alert minions, and effortlessly eliminates these goblin grunts. Next, it's time to deal with the goblin chieftain. The massive goblin chieftain is awakened by the commotion, roars, and begins patrolling around while raising a huge spiked club. Xander hides behind a fence, and while the orc goblin's back is turned, strikes first, his crude iron spear viciously stabbing into its thigh. His high strength value directly creates a bloody hole. At the same time, the goblin chieftain's health bar appears before Xander, a full 2,000 points. The goblin chieftain winces in pain, turns to see Xander, and swings the massive spiked club down fiercely. However, this slow movement is nimbly dodged completely by Xander, who then strikes again with his crude iron spear in a backhand thrust. In less than a moment, the goblin chieftain's health bar has already dropped below half. Just then, the goblin chieftain's eyes instantly turn blood red, as if entering a berserker state, its attack power suddenly surging. At this moment, the goblin chieftain swings its thick arms and charges straight at Xander, but Xander calmly ducks down, then raises his spear and drives it fiercely into the goblin chieftain's neck. Instantly, massive damage numbers burst out. Critical strike deals double damage. As one critical strike after another bursts out, the massive goblin chieftain crashes down. The heartfire emanating from the orc goblin's body is noticeably larger than that of the other goblin grunts. Sacrifice the goblin chieftain's heartfire. Xander touches the goblin chieftain with his spear tip and begins the sacrifice without hesitation. Instantly, a notification appears before Xander. Goblin chieftain's heartfire successfully sacrificed. Obtained B-rank skill, Berserk. When activated, damage and attack speed increase by 30%. After the effect ends, you will enter a weakened state for a period of time. Just then, another line of text appears before Xander. Consume 10 essence points to enhance this skill. Xander freezes for a moment, so essence can enhance skills. He decisively chooses to enhance it. The next second, the Berserk skill upgrades to Beast Blood Surge, advancing from B rank to A rank. Effect, Superior Bloodline, a talent skill of the Orc race. When activated, damage and attack speed increase by 50%. After the effect ends, you enter a brief weakened state. Additional effect, killing targets extends the duration. Meanwhile, outside the trial tower, Xander's homeroom teacher, Ms. Vivian, is closely monitoring him. After Xander rejected the SSS rank Undead Scourge class, the spectators turn to watch other trialists, and only Ms. Vivian quietly locks her viewing device onto Xander's perspective. At this moment, she happens to see Xander surrounded by the first wave of goblins, and as a class instructor, she naturally knows the consequences of a blank slate class class being surrounded by goblins. But just as she breaks into a nervous sweat for Xander, she watches him use the terrain advantage to kill all the goblins. Well done, Xander. Even Ms. Vivian, who teaches combat courses, can't help but silently admire him. Because this level of performance from Xander, even looking across the entire Dragon Empire's current generation of Awakened, fewer than 5 could pull it off. On the other side, inside the Trial Tower, a voice sounds in Xander's ear, "You have defeated the Guardian of the Trial Tower's first level," teleporting to the second level. The next second, Xander is teleported to a massive dark cavern. Looks like this is the Trial Tower's second level. At this moment, what fills his heart isn't nervousness, but excitement. Just from sacrificing the goblins on the first level, he has already obtained 2 powerful talent traits, Savage and Beastblood Surge. So what surprises will the next monsters bring Xander? After all, you don't actually die in the Trial Tower. Death here only teleports you out and ends the trial. Just then, black tendrils suddenly burst from the ground, and 2 thorn-covered vines shoot straight toward Xander. Seeing this, Xander quickly jumps back, then raises his spear and slashes at the vines. With just one strike, the vines are severed, yet these severed vines sprout from the ground once again. Only then does Xander realize that only by killing their main body can these vines be completely eliminated, and the direction of their main body should be where the soil is churning. So Xander immediately grabs his spear and charges toward where the soil is churning. Along the way, countless vines sprout from the soil, but Xander dodges them all one by one with nimble footwork. Moments later, a massive ancient tree appears in the cavern, and countless tendrils all extend from its body. This must definitely be the main body. Seeing the vines that have sprouted all along the path chasing after him like water snakes, he hesitates no longer, raising his crude iron spear and viciously stabbing at those massive roots. As damage numbers pop up, the boss's basic information appears before Xander. Immortal Treant, Elite Tier Boss, 50,000 horsepowers, danger level, high risk. What's even more despairing is that just seconds after Xander deals damage, the Immortal Treant recovers from its wounds. Instantly, Xander understands the test of the Trial Tower's second level. To completely eliminate these root tendrils, he must kill this massive Immortal Treant. However, this Immortal Treant not only has deep health reserves, but also astonishing recovery, and classes with insufficient damage output will eventually be worn down by the increasing number of vines. At the same time, Xander quickly comes up with a solution. If he uses Beastblood Surge, he might just be able to fight it. After all, he can extend the skill's duration by killing the vines. Meanwhile, outside the Trial Tower, watching the new generation of Awakened where over half have already been eliminated on just the first level, Principal Roland's brow furrows deeply. Damn it, who on earth designed this year's Trial Tower? At this moment, in their viewing perspective, the Awakened who successfully cleared the Trial Tower's first level, represented by the 3 S-rank class users Dominic, Ethan, and Seraphina, have already arrived in that dark and damp cavern. Countless vines sprouting from the ground like bamboo shoots after rain begin attacking Dominic. Dominic, an S-rank melee class coiling dragon monk, immediately swings his battle staff, unleashing a dragon-patterned strike that instantly shreds these vines. Principal Roland is just about to breathe a sigh of relief when he sees Dominic discover the underground network of these vines and track them all the way to their main body. The moment the massive main body root appears on screen, all the spectators present can't help but cry out, "Isn't that an Immortal Treant? Even level 10 class users would struggle to kill that thing." The principal flies into a rage, fearing that the second level alone will eliminate another half of First Academy's Awakened this year. All non-damage dealing classes will probably stop here. In a corner on the other side, homeroom teacher Ms. Vivian keeps her head down, closely monitoring Xander's situation. Seeing Xander has already launched an attack on the Immortal Treant's main body, Ms. Vivian, who teaches combat techniques, immediately notices that Xander's movements seem almost twice as fast as they were on the first level. What's going on? Ms. Vivian thinks with hidden surprise. At this moment, Xander has already begun dealing damage while circling the Immortal Treant's main body. The Immortal Treant's main body itself has no means of attack, relying entirely on the root tendrils extending from underground. So the Trial Tower's second level is essentially a dummy that tests burst damage output. Xander's crude iron spear thrusts continuously without pause, and damage numbers as high as 200 burst out one after another. This is naturally because Xander has activated Beastblood Surge, directly increasing his attack power and attack speed by 50%. Thornvine killed. Beastblood Surge duration extended by 10 seconds. In 10-second cycles, under Xander's precise rhythm control, the Immortal Treant's health bar gradually diminishes vanishes. Moments later, as Xander's final spear thrust pierces the giant tree, the massive treant main body is defeated. Massive amounts of white experience light flow directly into Xander's body, raising him 3 levels at once, bringing him directly to level 8. However, what interests Xander more is the abundant heartfire the immortal Trent left on the ground. Sacrifice. Xander's sacrificial movements have become increasingly practiced, and the heartfire, like a swarm of fireflies, immediately swirls around Xander's spear tip before gradually dissipating. Immortal Treant's heartfire successfully sacrificed. Obtained talent trait, photosynthetic recovery. Trait rank S rank. Effect, the immortal Treant's formidable recovery ability. When bathed in light, all your recovery effects increase by 500%. Though the immortal Trent is only an elite tier boss, its recovery ability is among the best of all monsters. Just then, a notification sounds in his ear again. You have defeated the Guardian of the Trial Tower's 2nd level, teleporting to the Trial Tower's 3rd level. In the blink of an eye, Xander is teleported from that dark, damp cavern to an open-air swamp. Congratulations on becoming the 5th awakened to enter the Trial Tower's 3rd level. Remaining awakened in the Trial Tower, 47. At this moment, Xander is shocked. The elimination rate is way too fast. After all, over 10,000 students participated in this year's awakening ceremony, and whoever designed this year's Trial Tower created an elimination mechanism that's far too brutal. So what kind of brutal challenge awaits on the 3rd level? Before Xander can think about it, 3 humanoid monsters emerge from the swamp mud before him. Marsh banshees. Xander's heart jumps in alarm, and he quickly dodges toward the surrounding jagged rock piles. The next second, a sonic attack with an extremely wide range lands on his previous location, and the entire stone slab is instantly shattered. He quickly realizes that this level's trial mainly tests the challenger's evasion ability or endurance. After all, the Banshee's sonic attacks have an extremely wide range, and if a challenger's evasion ability isn't up to par, they'll be quickly eliminated by this level's trial. Thinking of this, Xander can't help but smile slightly. In terms of evasion ability, the current Xander might not compare to those A-rank or S-rank agility-type class users, but in terms of endurance, having just obtained the passive skill photosynthetic recovery, Xander believes no one at this stage can match him. The next second, Xander's body suddenly bursts forward, charging toward the nearest marsh banshee. Though his feet are already affected by the swamp's slowing effect, Xander's killing intent doesn't diminish, and he raises his crude iron spear for a fierce stab. After dealing 137 damage, Xander quickly withdraws his spear and turns to flee. Just then, the sonic attacks from 2 marsh banshees arrive, waves of ripples bombarding his head. At this moment, Xander only feels his head spinning. Now at level 8, Xander has a total of 500 horsepowers, and after taking these 2 attacks, less than half his health remains. Yet Xander's previous strike already took nearly 1/3 of that marsh banshee's health. At this moment, hiding behind rocks, Xander's photosynthetic recovery effect activates, and his health visibly regenerates at an observable rate. Then, Xander repeatedly performs this operation, and after more than 10 minutes, he finally slays all 3 marsh banshees. The heartfire from the 3 marsh banshees slowly dissipates around Xander. Marsh banshee's heartfire successfully sacrificed. Obtained skill, Water Step. Effect, a unique talent skill of aquatic species. Summon water to envelop your entire body, becoming immune to most slowing control effects. Passive effect, increases movement speed by 15%. Just then, a familiar voice sounds again. Congratulations, you have defeated the guardian monsters of the 3rd level, teleporting to the Trial Tower's 4th level. Notice, this level does not require killing all guardian monsters. You only need to reach the central teleportation array alive. Don't need to kill guardian monsters. Xander's heart fills with suspicion, and he becomes even more vigilant. The Trial Tower's 4th level definitely has a catch. A few seconds later, teleported to the Trial Tower's 4th level, Xander is dumbfounded, as what guards this place isn't just a few monsters, but an entire spectral spider nest. Layer upon layer of webs, like an inescapable net, have turned the Trial Tower's 4th level into a true spider's den. Anyone who enters this place will gradually be bound tight, and then swarms of spiders will rush in from all directions. These demon-like spider monsters spray eerie spectral flames from their venomous fangs, a dual fire poison attribute attack method, burning plus toxic damage over time. Xander hastily uses Water Step, and a stream of water surges from around him, slowly enveloping his feet. When he steps on the web-covered terrain again, the previous hindering sensation is already gone. While the skill is active, Xander hurries toward the center of the 4th level. However, even with Xander's skillful movement, being surrounded by swarms of spectral spiders everywhere, he can't avoid getting hit. At this moment, he only feels a sharp pain in his shoulder, entering the spectral venom status. In 1 second, dual damage over time from poison and burning appears above Xander's head. Moments later, Xander, charging forward recklessly, has almost reached the center of this level, and looking up, he can faintly see the top of the spectral spider nest, where a teleportation array glows with eerie blue light. Yet just as he's about to step into the teleportation array, he abruptly stops, and looking at the densely packed spectral spiders behind him, Xander suddenly raises his spear and attacks them. Xander, what is he doing? Miss Vivian, the only one watching Xander's perspective, is instantly stunned. He's clearly reached the teleportation array, yet he turns back to kill these spectral spiders. Doesn't he know that if trialists reach the same final level, whoever reaches the final level first gets a higher score? At this moment, Xander is also in a state of high tension. On one hand, he must ensure no spectral spider gets close to him, while on the other hand, he must watch his health bar constantly dropping from spectral venom corrosion. More and more spiders swarm after him, and Xander hastily initiates the sacrifice ritual, stepping back with one foot into the teleportation array. As the surrounding scenery spins, a notification appears before Xander: spectral spider's heartfire successfully sacrificed. Obtained talent, spectral venom. This incredibly exciting notification fills Xander's heart with joy. After all, among all abnormal status effects, poison counters the most monster types, followed by fire. Most fur-covered creatures or wood attribute creatures are weak to fire. Spectral venom combines both these abnormal statuses, making it practically a divine weapon for killing monsters. View skill effect, Xander softly calls out. Trait effect, a unique poison of the spectral spider species that grows in lava poison barriers. When used, it coats your weapon with spectral venom. Hitting a target applies 1 stack of burning and 1 stack of toxic effect. Burning deals damage over time and reduces target defense. Finally, Xander silently surveys the trial tower's 5th level. This place is like an arena. Suddenly, tremors come from the ground, and a massive bear the size of a small mountain with coarse fur all over its body appears. The claws on its paws sharp as blades. Phantom Claw Bear, level 15, elite tier boss, danger level extreme. At this moment, Xander immediately becomes tense. This adult Phantom Claw Bear can at least match the strength of an ordinary class team, and the surrounding arena has no place to hide. However, Xander has no intention of giving up, because the Phantom Claw Bear has a thick layer of fur, which means it's weak to both fire and poison. On the other side, at the Awakening Ceremony Plaza outside the trial tower, the principal stares at the large screen with a dark expression, saying nothing. Besides a few S-rank candidates, only a handful of A-rank class users remain. And when they see the Phantom Claw Bear on the 5th level, everyone can't help but curse again. Damn it, who put these monsters in the trial tower? Never mind newly awakened class users, even a full class team might not reliably defeat an adult Phantom Claw Bear. Who on earth is this year's trial tower designer? At this very moment, in a military research facility, high-definition screens fill the entire observation room, and 95% of them have already turned black and white. Looks like this year's trial tower ends here. Researcher Felix, wearing gold-rimmed glasses, says with a disappointed expression, "Well, who would put an adult Phantom Claw Bear in the trial tower?" But Lieutenant Rain appears unconcerned. Back during the Dragon Scale assessment, taking down a Phantom Claw Bear was just the entry-level test. What a shame. This year's Awakened can't even pass the 5th level, let alone the hidden level. Lieutenant, the 5th level has an adult Phantom Claw Bear. What kind of monster did you capture for the hidden level? Lieutenant Rain speaks in the most casual tone yet says the most spine-chilling words. Nothing much, just a dragon hatchling. At this moment, Xander on the trial tower's 5th level doesn't rashly launch an attack. After all, an adult Phantom Claw Bear simply isn't something ordinary class users can handle. To fight it, he must rely on agile positioning. He immediately allocates all the free attribute points gained from previous level ups to agility. At this moment, the Phantom Claw Bear growls low and suddenly lunges at Xander. Seeing this, Xander seizes the moment and rolls to the side. At the same time, the Phantom Claw Bear immediately reaches out with both paws to grab at Xander, but he has already dodged behind the Phantom Claw Bear. Now's the chance! Xander's eyes flash sharply, and spectral venom activates instantly. The tip of his crude iron spear wraps with a trace of poison effect glowing with firelight, stabbing viciously into the Phantom Claw Bear. Target has entered spectral venom status. The thick fur on the Phantom Claw Bear's back instantly ignites, dealing burning damage while also suffering from the poison effect. In just a few seconds, a small portion of its health bar rapidly depletes. Xander uses the movement speed boost from Water Step to quickly create distance from the raging phantom claw bear. Next, he just needs to find the right opportunity to apply another layer of spectral venom, and he can wear it down to death. However, at this moment, the other awakened who reached the trial tower's 5th level aren't as fortunate as Xander. The S-rank class users all turn into wisps of white light under the phantom claw bear's assault. As Seraphina's perspective gradually turns gray and white, the last S-rank class user's trial tower also ends. In the eyes of the spectators at the awakening ceremony, this year's awakening ceremony should end here. First Academy awakened 3 S-rank class students, but unfortunately no one can break through the trial tower's 5th level. Just as everyone begins to stand and leave, the trial tower's large screen automatically switches to a different view. Wait, how is there still an awakened in the trial tower? Haven't all of them been eliminated? At this moment, those who were leaving turned their heads in surprise to look at the trial tower's large screen. On the large screen, an awakened who had never been watched before holds a spear, moving with extremely precise positioning, constantly staying in the phantom claw bear's blind spots, while the phantom claw bear's health bar has already dropped to 1/5. That person looks like Xander. Fellow awakened from the same year immediately recognize him. How is that possible? A blank slate class can't possibly clear the trial tower's 5th level. Everyone shows expressions of disbelief. Ethan, his face filled with bulging veins, suddenly erupts saying, "Look, that phantom claw bear's health bar isn't decreasing from Xander's attacks at all. Xander must be cheating." Ethan's words immediately cause an uproar, and a group of people stand up and shout in unison, "Cheating." At this moment, Ms. Vivian, the combat instructor, can finally no longer hold back. She personally witnessed every detail of Xander fighting his way to the 5th level. Ms. Vivian stands up and scolds with furrowed brows. "Everyone quiet down. The health bar not decreasing with attacks means the phantom claw bear has been inflicted with an abnormal status by Xander. Can't you all see this most basic principle?" At this time, Principal Roland and Director Zhang watch Xander on the screen with furrowed brows. Even if Xander ultimately doesn't kill this phantom claw bear, according to the trial tower's rules, the trialist who depletes more of a monster's health bar will receive a higher score, so Xander is almost certain to be first place in this trial tower. Principal Roland can't help but turn his head and say in a low voice to Director Zhang, "What's going on? If the first place reward from this trial tower goes to him, wouldn't that be a waste? Do you think there's a possibility the trial tower really malfunctioned, letting that kid exploit a loophole?" Director Zhang immediately says confidently. Principal Roland nods slightly with an expressionless face, and looking at the increasingly loud cries of cheating around the awakening ceremony, immediately makes up his mind. Even if Xander ultimately kills the phantom claw bear, the final reward absolutely cannot be given to him. At the same time, as Xander applies another layer of spectral venom to the phantom claw bear, a full 10 stacks of spectral venom, deducting over 10 health points per second. In less than a moment, the phantom claw bear's massive body suddenly collapses to the ground. The massive experience raises Xander to level 15. Sacrifice the phantom claw bear's heart fire. Xander performs the sacrifice ritual without hesitation. The next second, a notification sounds, "Phantom claw bear's heart fire successfully sacrificed." Obtain talent, Savage Charge Skill. Effect, charge toward a target with unstoppable force like the phantom claw bear. Upon hitting the target, causes a stun effect. Just then, a voice sounds in Xander's ear again. "Congratulations! You have cleared all levels of this trial tower. Do you wish to open the hidden level? The hidden level will not be broadcast. There's a hidden level." Xander is stunned. Haven't all previous trial towers only had 5 levels? He didn't expect this year's to have such increased difficulty, and even added a hidden level that won't be broadcast. What is this designer planning? But since I'm already here, might as well check it out. So he decisively confirms entry to the hidden level. Before the words even finish, Xander is teleported to a mountaintop. A small flying dragon appears before him. Seeing this, he involuntarily swallows. Damn, who put a dragon hatchling here? Dragons are among the most terrifying species of all monsters, naturally possessing unparalleled magic resistance and scales that ordinary weapons can barely penetrate. Even the lowest tier dragon hatchling has gold tier boss strength. However, surprisingly, this young dragon doesn't seem to show strong hostility toward him, but rather stares at Xander with some curiosity. If only I could sign a contract with it. At this moment, Xander shakes his head helplessly. Only a very few powerful awakened in the world can sign contracts with dragons and become revered dragon knights. Xander has also dreamed of this. Standing atop a towering dragon, the entrance alone would be impressive enough. Just as he's about to leave, a notification suddenly appears before him. Obsidian Dragon requests to contract with you. Do you accept? In an instant, Xander is thunderstruck, followed by a surge of wild joy. Signing contracts with monsters is an extremely rare occurrence. From then on, both parties become one entity, inseparable, and usually only beast tamer classes possess this ability. Yet even among beast tamers, those who can contract with dragons can be counted on one hand. I accept. Any moment of hesitation would be disrespectful to the dragon. The next second, a ritual carrying a special contract materializes between Xander and the dragon hatchling. Since the dragon hatchling initiated the contract with Xander, the entire ritual completes very smoothly. Then, a notification appears before Xander, successfully contracted Obsidian Dragon. Level 5. Status: Juvenile. Species: Obsidian Dragon. At the same time, a dragon summoning icon appears on Xander's panel, and he quickly establishes a subtle connection with the Obsidian Dragon hatchling, as if he can sense its thoughts. In that moment, Xander finally understands why this Obsidian Dragon hatchling chose to actively contract with him. The reason is his unique talent, Fractured Divinity. Only monsters with the highest bloodlines can sense divinity, this supreme existence, and this Obsidian Dragon happens to possess such noble bloodline. From Xander, it truly senses a deity-like pressure, though somewhat strange yet genuinely existing. The moment the contract completes, a notification appears before Xander. Congratulations on clearing the trial tower. You will be teleported out of the trial tower from the hidden level. Do you wish to return contracted beast Obsidian Dragon to summoning space? Xander immediately nods. After all, the little one is 100 times more precious than the trial tower champion's reward. On the other side, at this moment, the large screen displays the final notification. First Academy awakened. Xander has successfully cleared the trial tower's 5th level. At the same time, Lieutenant Rain calmly walks to the control console. Didn't expect it to end so quickly. Actually, all the results were within her expectations. An adult phantom claw bear simply isn't something newly awakened class users can handle. It's just a shame about the one she worked so hard to capture, to prepare as a surprise for everyone in the hidden level. Not a single person got to see it. However, just as Lieutenant Rain operates the teleportation array, planning to teleport that dragon hatchling out of the trial tower, she suddenly freezes in place. Wait, where's my dragon? Open the video recording of the trial tower's 6th level hidden stage. A trace of cold sweat appears on Lieutenant Rain's palms. At this moment, the screen shows only one person cleared the 5th level and reached the hidden stage. However, when she sees what happens next in the surveillance footage, she involuntarily shoots to her feet. He's signing a contract with the dragon hatchling. Who is this person? How could a newly awakened class user possibly sign a contract with a dragon, and successfully at that? The shock in Lieutenant Rain's heart at this moment is beyond description, and she quickly pulls up this person's relevant information. First Academy, Xander, a dragon hatchling, was contracted by a newly awakened class user. This news absolutely cannot get out, or it will not only attract forces from various countries interested in dragon hatchlings, but also pose a threat to that kid's personal safety. This is serious. I need to contact their chief examiner immediately. On the other side, after the large screen displays the announcement of Xander successfully clearing the trial tower, a wave of cursing arises. We strongly demand an investigation into Xander's clearing process. Severely punish cheaters. Seeing this, Principal Roland immediately gives Director Zhang a meaningful look. First Academy will definitely punish cheaters severely. Those who exploit loopholes have no right to the trial tower's final reward. Only Serafina remains silent, her brows tightly furrowed. She believes Xander has the ability to kill the 5th level's phantom claw bear. However, before she can finish speaking, her words are instantly drowned out by the crowd's shouting. At this time, Examiner Warren, standing at the awakening ceremony, also finds himself in a dilemma. On one hand, he personally presided over the entire awakening ceremony and trial tower, and even he doesn't believe that Xander, who only awakened a blank-slate class, could clear the trial tower's 5th level of such difficulty. But on the other hand, the trial tower, this unique space composed of teleportation arrays, has served the awakening ceremony for hundreds of years, has never had an error, and this year's designer is a major figure sent down by the military, making the possibility of her error extremely slim. At this moment, his earpiece is suddenly forcibly connected, and a voice immediately sounds in his ear. Are you the chief examiner of First Academy? I'm the designer of this trial tower, Lieutenant Rain. Examiner Warren immediately trembles all over and snaps to attention, Lieutenant. I'm First Academy's chief examiner, Warren. Then, Lieutenant Rain says in an unquestionable tone, First Academy student Xander's situation after clearing the trial tower's 5th level and entering the hidden level. Did you see it? I order you to immediately seal this information. Do not allow anyone to know that Xander reached the hidden level. Reporting, Lieutenant. Understood, Warren answers without hesitation. Then he asks Lieutenant Rain somewhat hesitantly, Lieutenant, how should this trial tower's results be calculated? Is student Xander still first place? Wasn't he the only one to clear the 5th level? Then of course he's first place. The next second, Warren hangs up the communicator, takes the microphone from Principal Roland's hand, and says sternly, as chief examiner of this awakening ceremony, I have already consulted with the trial tower's designer. I hereby officially announce that there were no problems throughout this trial tower. Student Xander engaged in no cheating behavior. Next, we will award Student Xander the special reward for first place in the trial. Instantly, the entire awakening ceremony falls silent, and those spectators and fellow awakened who were just making a huge fuss are dumbfounded. As a flash of light passes, Xander, the person who caused this uproar, is finally teleported out of the trial tower. Watching everyone scramble to interview him, Principal Roland immediately changes his expression, quickly putting on a kind smile and walking up to Xander, pulling his hand and saying attentively, Congratulations, Student Xander. Congratulations on becoming Capital City's first place in this trial tower. You truly are an outstanding student of our first academy. Director Zhang beside him also hurriedly presents the prize. This is 100,000 dragon coins our academy specially prepared for the trial's first place. We hope it helps your future development. Though Xander doesn't know what happened, from Principal Roland's remarkable expression he can tell. The old guy was probably forced into this corner and had no choice, so he accepts the reward with a beaming smile. Thank you, Principal, for cultivating me. I will definitely work hard and bring glory to our first academy in the future, Examiner Warren says solemnly. I represent the military and specially awarding the reward to Student Xander, first place in this trial tower. Then, he hands him a card wrapped in an envelope. This is a Capital City Arsenal weapon and equipment exchange voucher. With this voucher, you can exchange it at the arsenal for any gold tier equipment below level 30. I believe it will be a great help to your early development. Hearing this, Xander's heart fills with joy. He didn't expect the military to be so generous this time. A gold tier piece of equipment has a market price basically equivalent to 100,000 dragon coins. It seems this trial tower clear has brought him quite a harvest. Why? Ethan can't help but mutter in a low voice, gold tier weapon and equipment. That kind of thing is completely wasted in Xander's hands. Hearing this, everyone present begins discussing, and they all think Ethan's words aren't unreasonable. At this time, Xander slowly walks down from the awakening platform amid the cursing, then walks straight up to Ethan. Ethan, during these 3 high school years, have I offended you in any way? He sneers with a dark expression. Xander, you haven't offended me in any way. On the contrary, you're a very good classmate. But have you ever considered my feelings, following behind you? Every time you gave guidance from on high, it felt like charity. Xander freezes for a moment and carefully recalls. During the 3 high school years, toward Ethan who often sought his advice, Xander never put on any superior airs, nor showed any arrogance. But in some people's eyes, whatever you do is just pitying him. I understand. Xander chuckles softly, shakes his head, and turns to walk toward the crowd. The scene shifts. As soon as Xander returns home, he runs into Serafina, who has been waiting for quite some time. She has changed into casual wear, her silky hair tied back, perfectly framing her delicate profile. Hello, Xander. Serafina spots him and is the first to greet him. Xander freezes, asking, Hello, Serafina. Is there something I can help you with? In Xander's memory, the two of them have had almost no interaction. I'm planning to create a new guild under Sterling Corporation's name, and I'd like to invite you to join. Hearing this, Xander is stunned. Serafina, you should know I awakened a blank-slate class, right? I know. Serafina stares intently at Xander, then says with a smile, but I'm even more aware of what it means for a blank-slate class to clear the 5th floor of the trial tower. I'm sorry, Serafina. Xander shakes his head politely. Thank you for the invitation, but at this stage I have some personal matters to attend to. Joining a guild would be inconvenient. Unexpectedly, Serafina suddenly pivots, blocking Xander's path. If you join my guild, you'll receive at least 50,000 dragon coins per month. You should know that after awakening as a professional, equipment, skills, dungeon runs, all require massive amounts of dragon coins. May I ask why Sterling Corporation suddenly decided to get involved in professional guilds? Xander asks calmly, somewhat curious. Serafina bites her lip with a smile, saying, The specific reason, if you agree to join, I'll tell you. Seeing this, Xander Xander contemplates for a moment, then says, I can join, but you must agree to one condition. I need the privilege to act independently, the right to decline any non-essential guild activities, and for the next month, I need to operate solo. Deal! Serafina immediately extends her delicate hand with a beaming smile. The scene shifts. As soon as Xander returns home, a surge of urgency floods his mind. The next second, the obsidian worm is summoned from its pocket dimension and immediately starts crying out toward Xander. It appears hungry, so Xander feeds it everything in the refrigerator. Xander takes this opportunity to examine the dragon hatchling's attributes. Obsidian worm, 30,000 health, 1,390% attack. It appeals, Dragon's Breath, Obsidian Scales. Dragon's Breath, S rank, a unique earth-based attack method of dragon species. Deals searing damage over a wide area and ignores burn resistance. Obsidian Scales, double S rank, the natural scales of the obsidian worm species. Grants immunity to most elemental attacks including fire, lightning, and ice, and ignores most abnormal status effects. These attributes shock Xander. No wonder dragon species are heaven-defying existences. Even as juveniles, they rival gold-tier bosses. If they were to fully mature, each would become a catastrophic force. To tame it, Xander immediately searches the archives for knowledge about beast taming. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Rain is examining all information about Xander. A genius who can't even distinguish between classes. Someone actually rejected triple S rank Undead Scourge and chose a blank slate class. Interesting. Lieutenant Rain raises her arms in a stretch, murmuring softly, how can a blank slate class contract a dragon species? On her terminal displays Xander's detailed address. The scene shifts. Early the next morning, Xander heads to the arsenal with his exchange voucher. After the heavily guarded sentries verify his identity, Xander enters this arsenal that looks unassuming from the outside. Looking around, dazzling arrays of equipment fill row upon row of shelves, neatly organized by different ranks and classes. Heavy armor, leather armor, cloth armor, robes, covering equipment usable by all classes from warriors to assassins and mages. But Xander's objective today is neither armor nor damage-dealing weapons. He wants to use this precious exchange voucher for an offhand weapon. When fighting the Phantom Clawbear in the Trial Tower, Xander relied entirely on nimble and precise positioning, managing to evade those ferocious attacks. However, monsters in the real world are often far more brutal, and creatures far more agile than the Phantom Clawbear are everywhere. Being able to defend and strike is the real principle. In the shield section, all varieties of shields fill the shelves. Shields come in several types. The largest are tower shields and kite shields, which have the highest defensive attributes but are also the heaviest, typically used only by frontline warriors in teams. Small shields and bucklers serve as survival tools for agility-based classes, as offhand weapons. Even when successfully blocking attacks, they can't mitigate most damage. So Xander decisively chooses war shields, which are mostly diamond-shaped shields that not only block most damage during perfect parries, but can also coordinate with main hand weapons to counterattack with bashing techniques. At this moment, a shield's name catches Xander's attention: Tiger Crest War Shield. Although the name seems ordinary, its distinctive white tiger pattern makes Xander's eyes light up. This is the unique mark of a renowned blacksmith family from White Tiger Citadel, one of the 4 great cities, the Fierce Tiger Mark. This blacksmith family, with a century-long legacy in White Tiger Citadel, has seen almost every head of the family become a blacksmith-class professional, and has even produced several Grandmaster blacksmiths. Every piece of weapon or equipment crafted by their family possesses absolutely exceptional attributes, and all come with an extremely practical additional attribute or skill. Xander immediately examines it. Tiger Crest War Shield, gold tier equipment, strong block effect, damage reduction. Additional trait, parry counterstrike. Counterattacks after successful blocks deal 30% increased damage. This is it! Xander immediately picks up this Tiger Crest War Shield, gently wiping away the fine layer of dust covering it. Without a doubt, this War Shield will become Xander's life-saving weapon in the future. Moments later, Xander arrives at the bustling streets. Today is the first day for the new batch of Awakened to become professionals. And not only are all the guilds eagerly recruiting newcomers, many solo players are also recruiting permanent teammates on the streets. But more numerous are the small vendors selling equipment. A batch of Awakened in need of beginner gear is undoubtedly a huge business opportunity. One map, and also the latest guild leveling zone information, Xander says slowly. Seeing this, the vendor doesn't hesitate, immediately pulling an envelope from his pocket and handing it to Xander.
You're truly an expert. This is all information we gathered just last night. The distribution of the 4 great guilds, and the leveling zones they're claiming are all marked on it.
This is actually the information Xander wants most, because at the beginning of each new batch of awakened professionals, the 4 great guilds typically openly seize certain areas, and Xander's leveling zones are best kept away from these people to avoid too many eyes. Opening the envelope, the first things that catch his eye are several hot news items about the new batch of S-rank awakened. First Academy S-rank professional, awakened Ethan has chosen to join Dominion Guild, one of the 4 great guilds. First Academy S-rank professional, awakened Dominic has joined Blackhawk Guild. Looking at these 2 familiar names, Xander can't help but narrow his eyes. Dominic, back at First Academy, had openly been Xander's arch-nemesis, using all kinds of underhanded tactics out in the open. But Ethan is different. This person is extremely sinister. Actually, Xander had long sensed that Ethan, who followed him daily, was deeply calculating, but he never expected this person's heart to be so narrow. His kindness toward him became condescending charity in Ethan's eyes. Now that Ethan has joined Dominion, one of the 4 great guilds, and become a key cultivation target of Dominion. Given his nature, he definitely won't let this go. But this time, the roles are reversed. He's in the open while Xander is in the shadows. Dominion Guild is the wealthiest among the 4 great guilds, and its elite members all receive generous compensation. So it's only natural that Ethan, an S-rank professional with the Frostblade swordsman talent, was selected by Dominion. At this moment, Xander is examining the monster distribution map. Corpse venom bats. When he sees the monsters distributed in the abandoned mine, Xander's eyes suddenly brighten. Having already tasted the powerful effects of spectral venom in the trial tower, he's increasingly interested in the poison-coating playstyle. If he can further stack new toxins, it will absolutely be a divine weapon for grinding monsters, especially fighting boss-level creatures. The abandoned mine is underground with intricate passageways, so few professionals choose this place, perfect for avoiding attention. With that, Xander immediately heads to the pharmacy to purchase some potions, then rushes toward the abandoned mine. During this time, Xander understands the essence strengthening mechanism. All traits and skills require more essence points with each level strengthened. Upgrading from A rank to S rank requires at least 100 essence points, while upgrading from S rank to double S rank requires a full 1000 essence points. So Xander's most important task now is to massively collect essence points. As traits accumulate in the future, strengthening skills or talent traits must be selective, using essence points on the most critical traits. Following the map's guidance, Xander arrives at the abandoned mine. The mine is located in a desolate wilderness, with half the entrance already collapsed, the remaining half barely supported by rubble, even looking somewhat precarious. Moments later, holding a glow bug, Xander carefully descends step by step along the mine shaft's stairs into the depths. Before long, black sandy particles appear on the ground, traces left behind by bats. Xander immediately becomes alert, drawing the crude iron spear in one hand and equipping the Tiger Crest war shield in the other, then cautiously advancing forward by the glow bug's dim light. Suddenly, he hears the sound of flapping wings from the tunnel ceiling ahead. The next second, several black shadows swoop toward Xander, at least a dozen corpse venom bats. Xander raises the Tiger Crest war shield to protect his head and chest, and immediately several fierce impacts strike. Yet Xander is only knocked back half a step without taking any damage. This is the strong block effect of the Tiger Crest war shield, allowing Xander to completely block the damage from this wave of assault. At the same time, Xander immediately raises his spear and viciously stabs at the corpse venom bat near his feet. A corpse venom bat's health bar is around 200, and now Xander can eliminate 3/4 of its health with one strike. He then follows up with another strike, killing the bat on the spot. At this moment, a white light flows into Xander's body, and his experience bar visibly rises a small notch. While he's momentarily distracted, a bat seizes the opportunity to bite him hard from behind. Although the damage isn't high, a prompt immediately appears before Xander: "You have been afflicted with corpse toxin status. Stun meter accumulating." Xander immediately feels his vision blur, his head growing increasingly dizzy. This is the effect of corpse toxin. Although the poison damage dealt per second isn't high, it can accumulate a stun status. Seeing this, Xander immediately drinks 2 antidote potions, finally completely purging the toxin from his body. The next second, he immediately activates the skill Beastblood Surge, then charges lunges straight at the bat swarm in the cave. With the skill's enhancement, Xander's damage output instantly doubles, and in just moments, all the bats in the cave are completely eliminated. Sacrifice the essence of the corpse venom bats. Wisps of ghostly essence immediately flow from the bat corpses into Xander's body. Talent trait acquired Corpse Toxin. Attacks that hit targets apply Corpse Toxin effect, dealing sustained damage and continuously accumulating stun meter. Seeing this, Xander's heart fills with joy. This kind of talent is absolutely a poison control weapon when used against fellow human professionals. Just then, Xander suddenly feels his hair stand on end. Looking up, he sees an oversized corpse venom bat hanging upside down from the rock wall. A boss bond! Xander's heart tightens. He raises the Tiger Crest war shield toward the ceiling, assuming a combat stance. As a dark gust sweeps past, the giant bat overhead suddenly swoops at Xander, slamming hard against the shield. The tremendous momentum is far more fierce than the swarm of smaller bats before, instantly knocking Xander stumbling and falling to the ground. At this moment, two long venomous fangs strike straight at Xander, so he hastily raises his shield to block them. Violent vibrations immediately travel through his hand, and for a moment Xander is pinned down, unable to rise. Even worse, the glowbug vial at Xander's waist suddenly shatters, and before the glowing glowbug can fly more than a few meters, the giant corpse venom bat swallows it in one gulp. The entire mine immediately plunges into darkness, but before Xander can pull out his backup glowbug, the massive Bat King launches its attack directly at him. Seeing this, Xander can only judge the giant bat's attacks by the sound of flapping wings. At this moment, a foul wind approaches. Xander silently counts the timing in his mind. Now! Spectral venom suddenly activates, and the crude iron spear in Xander's hand bursts with burning flames, stabbing fiercely at the giant Bat King right before him. As two prompts appear, flames immediately ignite on the giant bat's body. Let's see where you run this time! Seeing the Bat King's health bar drop below half, Xander decisively activates Beast Blood Surge, and a surge of power immediately flows through his body. The corpse venom Bat King lets out a wail, and this boss that had dominated the abandoned mine finally falls beneath Xander's spear. At the same time, another burst of essence emerges from the corpse venom Bat King's body. Sacrifice the essence of the corpse venom Bat King. Xander decisively performs the sacrifice ritual. The corpse venom Bat King's essence is successfully sacrificed. Talent trait acquired Sonic Detection. B-rank Sonic Detection? Xander is momentarily stunned, not expecting to actually obtain this trait from the giant corpse venom Bat King. No wonder in that dark underground mine, the corpse venom Bat King was able to attack him with such precision. Checking Sonic Detection, he sees this B-rank skill now in his skill list. Sonic Detection emits high-frequency sound waves to detect surrounding environment and approximate enemy positions, effective range 30 meters. At this moment, a prompt suddenly appears before Xander. You possess 135 essence points. Strengthen skill? Only then does he remember he has accumulated quite a few essence points. It's time to choose a skill to strengthen. Xander decides to strengthen Sonic Detection first, since this skill can detect monsters appearing around him in advance. After strengthening it twice consecutively, Sonic Detection directly upgrades to S-rank Ultrasonic Enemy Lock. Effect: emits ultrasonic waves undetectable by humans in high-frequency pulses, rapidly detecting surrounding terrain, precisely locating enemy positions and movement trajectories, including enemies in stealth and hidden states, but not those in void state. Effective range 100 meters. Xander immediately feels these 100 essence points were absolutely worth it. This is practically a divine skill against assassin classes. Assassins with stealth skills can often catch you off guard with a surprise first strike, but now with this skill, it's nearly impossible for any assassin to ambush Xander. Just one abandoned mine brought him so many surprises, so over the next 3 days, having tasted success, he simply sweeps through all the low-level leveling zones around Capital City. Northern Wastes. Sacrificing Feral Wolf Essence. Talent trait acquired Bloodthirst, C-rank, Melee. Attacks grant 5% lifesteal effect. Southern Highlands region. Sacrificing Goblin Shaman Essence. Talent trait acquired Focus, D-rank, Spirit attribute increased by 100. And in Galewind Barrens, sacrificing Undead Soldier Essence. Talent trait acquired Poison Resistance, D-rank, Poison Resistance increased by 100. While Xander tirelessly sacrifices monsters to acquire traits, some fellow awakened from his class see this, and they continuously mock Xander in the class channel. Wonder if our former genius seed needs someone to carry him. Then many start flattering Ethan. I heard a new dungeon recently appeared at Crimson Scorpion Desert, with danger levels still undetermined. Wonder if Ethan will lead the Dominion Guild branch members for first clear? Ethan says without concealing his status. First clear is natural.
I'm now the Legion Commander of Dominion Guild's Capital City branch. All of Dominion Guild's new professionals are under my management, and this new dungeon's first clear. Dominion will definitely claim it. Amidst a string of undisguised flattery, Xander keenly extracts a key phrase. A new dungeon actually appeared at Crimson Scorpion Desert. Due to spatial rift instability, new dungeons can appear in any area, and new dungeons' danger levels are often unknown. Therefore, Capital City's military offers extremely generous rewards for first clears of new dungeons. Not only that, many special dungeons contain reward chests and treasures that only first clearers can obtain, which makes all major guilds eagerly chase after first clears of new dungeons. And this new dungeon is also a must-have for Xander, because new dungeons mean new monsters, and new monsters mean new traits. When news of the new dungeon at Crimson Scorpion Desert spreads, the originally desolate desert immediately becomes lively. As Xander walks toward Crimson Scorpion Desert, professionals eager to try this new dungeon are everywhere around him, most either going in guild teams or banding together in small groups of 3 to 5. Everyone knows that while a new dungeon's appearance represents opportunity, it also means danger, and new dungeons with undetermined danger levels have appeared before. Cases of total party wipes of professionals seeking glory are numerous, and one more teammate means one more layer of reliability. At this moment, Xander's communicator suddenly rings, and Seraphina's voice comes through. Xander, have you heard about the new dungeon appearing in Crimson Scorpion Desert? Xander immediately replies, I'm on my way. Why? Are you coming too? Seraphina on the other end responds almost instantly, I'd like to, but today I need to process the guild creation approval, and then handle some recruitment matters. I heard Blackhawk and Dominion guilds also went to Crimson Scorpion Desert, so be careful on your own. Okay, Xander replies simply with one word, and Seraphina sends no further messages. At this time, Xander has gradually reached the depths of Crimson Scorpion Desert, getting closer and closer to the location where the new dungeon appeared according to intelligence. Looking from afar, quite a crowd has already gathered ahead. The dungeon was originally an ancient tomb buried beneath yellow sand, said to have been exposed when fierce winds blew away the sand a few days ago, revealing the entrance to this underground tomb. General's Tomb of Lulan. Danger level, unknown. At this time, Xander sees several familiar faces. Sure enough, Dominion Guild's Ethan has already arrived. At this moment, a shrill voice sounds from behind Xander. Xander, what are you doing here? Xander turns to look and sees the speaker is his former deskmate, Willow Mist. Willow Mist's words immediately make Xander the focus of the crowd, and in an instant, everyone starts mocking him. Even Ethan draws his weapon, pointing it fiercely at Xander. It's a longsword, at least gold-tier equipment, with the blade shrouded in frost-like condensation, precisely the talent skill of the S-rank Frostblade swordsman class. The next second, the frost-covered longsword in his hand slashes fiercely toward Xander, carrying area of effect sword energy. At this moment, a shield bearing white tiger patterns appears in Xander's hand. Accompanied by the sound of metal striking metal, the Tiger Crest War Shield firmly blocks this sword strike, including the cutting sword energy, which is instantly dispersed. Before Ethan can even steady himself, the crude iron spear in Xander's other hand thrusts out fiercely, precisely pressing against his throat. This scene happens in just a few seconds, and the crowd that was just clamoring falls completely silent, everyone stunned speechless by this scene. S-rank professional Ethan's full-force strike was easily blocked by Xander. Attacking without figuring out your opponent's weapons looks like those 3 years of high school I spent teaching you were wasted. In an instant, the fear of being completely suppressed by Xander for 3 years of high school floods Ethan's heart again. This is impossible. You're just a blank slate class now. A ferocious expression erupts on Ethan's somewhat dazed face. However, at this moment, the yellow sand beneath the crowd's feet suddenly starts flowing like a massive whirlpool, and then a tomb chamber's entrance slowly emerges from beneath the yellow sand. The corner of the tomb chamber exposed from the yellow sand also bursts with golden light, attracting everyone's attention. What's happening? Is the dungeon starting? At the same time, a prompt appears before everyone. General's Tomb of Lulan dungeon has opened. Xander's gaze sweeps across, and he charges straight into one of the tomb chamber entrances. After all, obtaining the special rewards within the dungeon is the most important thing. Seeing this, Ethan nearby also leads people slowly into the dungeon. Inside this underground tomb chamber, the space is extremely vast, with Western region-style carvings everywhere, and various colorful murals on the walls are gradually oxidizing and fading with the intrusion of air. Xander looks up and sees at the end of a corridor not far away a treasure chest covered in quite a bit of dust, its special patterns proving this chest is definitely a special treasure chest from the General's Tomb of Lulan. However, Xander doesn't act rashly, instead activating ultrasonic enemy lock. Inaudible high-frequency ultrasonic waves immediately echo through the narrow corridor and soon return. Results: 3 red dots suddenly appear around Xander. Seems there are 3 other people nearby besides himself. Sure enough, seconds later, footsteps sound from behind. The 3 arriving people are actually wearing the same uniform, all bearing a special emblem on their chests, Azure Sky Guild, and they likewise notice Xander right before them. Wariness immediately appears in the 3 people's eyes, especially when the leader among them, a bespectacled young man, also notices the treasure chest at the far end of the corridor. The 3 immediately exchange glances, draw their weapons, and quietly surround Xander. Listen, this chest isn't for you to take. If you know what's good for you, get lost, the bespectacled leader says harshly, raising a gleaming dagger in his hand and pointing it at Xander. This person's class should be assassin, while the other 2 beside the bespectacled man are a mage and a sword and shield warrior respectively. Xander sneers inwardly. Items in dungeons are ownerless, following nothing but the principle of first come first served, or whoever has the stronger fist gets it. However, this chest placed at the end of such a conspicuous corridor probably isn't so easily obtained. Xander simply steps aside, yielding the path to the treasure chest, then turns and walks toward the staircase in another direction. Walking up this corner staircase leads to the platform's 2nd floor, from which the corridor below can be seen clearly. Watching Xander disappear from their sight, the bespectacled man and his 2 companions begin their move, not advancing recklessly, but instead having the only frontline warrior walk ahead with shield raised, while the others hide behind him, advancing along the corridor's side. Just then, the warrior with the large shield walking at the front suddenly pauses, and, in an instant, countless poisoned arrows shoot from both ends of the corridor, making the warrior frantically raise his shield to block. But the mage behind him can't dodge in time, and takes an arrow to the leg. Watching his continuously depleting health bar, he hastily drinks an antidote potion, finally stopping the toxin effect in time. Just then, the marble floor of the corridor ahead suddenly collapses, and the warrior at the front loses his footing and falls, looking down at rows of spike traps below. Fortunately, the warrior reacts quickly, grabbing the floor behind with both hands. At this moment, the bespectacled man behind doesn't extend a hand to help his companion, but instead suddenly leaps over this trap, rushing toward the treasure chest at the corridor's end. "Brothers, let me check what's in this chest for you." His eyes are filled with endless greed. Just as the warrior is about to lose strength, Xander, waiting on the side, timely intervenes to save the 2. "Take off your shield and armor. Life or equipment, your choice." Warrior Owen Reed immediately throws down the shield weighing dozens of pounds and removes all his equipment, then successfully climbs up with the mage's help. On the other side, the bespectacled Marcus Thorne has already reached the treasure chest and skillfully begins unlocking it. Though the 2 feel indignant, Xander still consoles them. "Don't worry, it's not that simple." From his position on the 2nd floor platform, he sees clearly that behind the treasure chest at the corridor's end hides an extremely subtle teleportation array. If his guess is correct, the condition to trigger this teleportation array is opening the chest, and Marcus Thorne, crouching before the chest with a greedy expression, is completely unaware of this. Click! The chest before him opens in response, revealing a ring inside, and moreover an extremely precious accessory equipment. However, the instant his hand reaches into the chest, the teleportation array beneath the chest activates, instantly sucking him in on the spot. The next second, he's teleported back to that spike trap from before. He grips the trap's edge tightly, then shouts toward his teammates, "Help me!" However, only 2 cold gazes respond to him. "No need to save you. Good luck, you despicable villain." Owen Reed pulls his teammate Felix Ward by the hand, turning to leave, and before leaving looks up gratefully at Xander on the 2nd floor platform, cupping his hands. "Thank you for your great kindness. Without equipment, staying in this dungeon any longer would be suicide, so I'll leave first. My name is Owen Reed. When we return to Capital City, I'll definitely treat you to a meal." After saying this, the 2 turn and leave. At this time, the teleportation array beneath the chest has already been destroyed, clearly a one-time array, and Xander has already used rope to reach the chest, then gently picks up the ring inside and equips it directly. The ring's attributes immediately appear before him. Jade Treasury Ring. Level requirement 20. Description: a collection of the General of Lulan's family. Crafted from jade unique to the Lulan Kingdom. Crystal, clear throughout.
Wearing it has a refreshing effect and is the key to opening the general's tomb. Attributes: spirit increased by 5, strength increased by 5. Additional trait: mental clarity, stun resistance increased by 35%. After obtaining the Jade Treasury Ring, Xander once again swings on the rope hanging from the platform to the corridor entrance. Looking at Marcus Thorne clinging with one hand at his feet, desperately pleading, Xander slowly walks forward. Just as he's about to extend his hand to pull him up, he sees the dagger in Marcus Thorne's other hand suddenly thrust toward him. However, with the sound of metal striking metal, the dagger in his hand is firmly blocked by a shield bearing white tiger patterns. Xander smiles coldly. The next second, Xander kicks him down hard. As massive damage numbers burst forth, Marcus Thorne has now become a cold corpse. At this moment, Xander reveals an expression of utter shock because wisps of essence actually emerge from Marcus Thorne's body. Then, a prompt that makes Xander's entire body tremble appears before him. Sacrifice the essence of human professional Marcus Thorne. Human professionals also leave essence after being killed. Xander can't help but be shocked, as this is not only a groundbreaking discovery but also a challenge to Xander's morality as someone who considers himself human. If human professionals can also be sacrificed, does that mean one can use any means to become stronger? Looking at this prompt before him, Xander hesitates for a moment before choosing to confirm. As the essence from within the trap floats up ethereally and disperses into Xander's body, a prompt also appears. Professional Marcus Thorne's essence successfully sacrificed. Skill acquired: lockpicking, D rank, tier 1. This lockpicking skill is essential for team dungeon runs and one of the important values of assassin and thief classes, and now it has become a major asset for solo player Xander. Shortly after leaving that corridor, Xander once again discovers a team of professionals nearby through ultrasonic enemy lock, who seem to have encountered monsters within the general's tomb chamber. Xander quietly approaches following the sound and sees this team of professionals has entered a side hall of the tomb chamber. The team consists of 5 people total, with frontline, damage dealers, healers, and support classes, all complete and coordinating quite well, currently fighting monsters that resemble giant centipedes. These centipede sentinels are like giant monstrous insects, standing upright as tall as a person, looking spine-chilling. However, under this team of professionals' coordinated cooperation, even facing 2 sentinels simultaneously causes no disorder. Meanwhile, Xander discovers an isolated centipede sentinel not far away, so holding his spear, he thrusts straight at it. Xander's spear strike clearly feels obstructed at the tip, and then a damage number appears, much lower than Xander expected. By the dim light, Xander sees clearly that within the centipede sentinel's limbs is actually armor, as if grown into the flesh, becoming its most solid protection. And Xander's spear strike happened to hit one of these armor scales, blocking a full half of the damage. Armor grown in flesh. Xander can't help but recall that these centipede sentinels are monsters created by the Lulan people using witchcraft and curses, sealed in this tomb to guard the general of Lulan's tomb forever. Immediately after, the centipede sentinel's counterattack comes swiftly. The giant insect rears up its upper body high, its centipede-like limbs, each one bearing barbs, claw toward Xander like a violent storm. Fortunately, Xander reacts in time, his offhand Tiger Crest war shield steadily blocking in front. In the narrow tomb passage, the ear-piercing sound of claws scraping metal immediately rings out, all damage blocked by the shield. Wisps of black vapor suddenly emerge from those barbed limbs, spreading like smoke before Xander. Is it poison? Xander's heart immediately tightens. He holds his breath, but then damage suddenly appears on himself. Xander immediately narrows his eyes. No wonder that healer specifically gave me a light's blessing buff before parting. Turns out these centipede sentinels actually deal special spectral damage. Spectral damage is a type of damage unique to undead-type monsters, possessing the attribute of ignoring physical defense, and is also one of the most troublesome types of monsters. Fortunately, though, these centipede sentinels only carry a trace of spectral attribute and aren't entirely that troublesome spectral damage. With Xander's current health points, plus the 5 times recovery bonus from his S-rank talent photosynthetic recovery, he can easily ignore this mere 30+ points of spectral damage. Xander immediately plants the Tiger Crest war shield in front of his chest, while the crude iron spear in his other hand thrusts forward fiercely, spectral venom immediately activating. Spectral-type monsters monsters naturally ignore poison effects, but these centipede sentinels can at most be considered half-spectral, so at least burn damage can't be avoided. The spear coated with spectral venom immediately ignites the centipede sentinel's surface. Burn damage -39. As burn damage numbers burst forth one after another, Xander likewise doesn't stop his spear's damage output. By the firelight burning on the monster's body, Xander sees clearly that the armor in this monster's flesh doesn't completely cover its entire body, but rather resembles scales, with slight gaps between each armor plate. If he can attack these gaps, he can ignore the defense of those armor plates in the flesh. The spear in Xander's hand suddenly thrusts out, precisely stabbing into the gap between scales. One strike directly dealing massive damage, -319. Sure enough, it's weak point damage. Having found the trick, Xander directly activates Beast Blood Surge, damage and output capability increasing again, and within just 2 minutes reduces this centipede sentinel to less than half health. Even when this type of monster's health reaches rock bottom, it remains in that numb state, seemingly only capable of mindlessly attacking intruders. As its pounce is once again firmly blocked by the Tiger Crest War Shield in Xander's hand, Xander's other hand spear thrusts out boldly, a massive damage number instantly finishing off its last health bar, -629. As a wisp of experience flows into Xander's body, a wisp of essence also emerges from this centipede sentinel's corpse. Xander decisively sacrifices it. This kind of bizarre creature that shouldn't exist in the world should have vanished centuries ago. Centipede sentinel's essence successfully sacrificed. Essence points increased by 1. Sacrificing just one centipede sentinel indeed doesn't easily yield its trait. Xander continues deeper along the tomb passage. Under the dim light, at least 7 or 8 more are visible to the naked eye. Xander continues forward. With his current attributes and combat power, facing multiple monsters at once is no problem as long as he's not attacked from both sides. Killing his way through, centipede sentinel corpses are left behind in the narrow, dim tomb passage. On the other side, the professional team that cleared all the centipede sentinels in the side hall also chooses to continue deeper into the tomb chamber. "Captain, should we also take this tomb passage?" Archer Flynn and the team immediately points to the passage Xander left by earlier. "Maybe we can catch up to that person from before. That guy alone shouldn't get very far, and if something happens, we can help out." Captain Gareth Bright also nods in agreement. Although he also saw that person's strength was definitely extraordinary, he feels in his heart that no matter how strong, relying on just one person to kill centipede sentinels would definitely require great effort. "Let's go. If we run into him, we can have him temporarily join our team," Gareth says in a deep voice, while also leading the team into that tomb passage. "Same as always, I'll walk in front. Archer Flynn and Blaze Yang follow me. Lyra walks in the middle. Drake, you bring up the rear." 2 warrior classes front and back, with main damage dealers and healer protected in the middle position. However, after just a few steps, Gareth sees a centipede sentinel corpse lying in the middle of the tomb passage. This guy can really solo kill centipede sentinels. Gareth can't help but feel alarmed. Although he as a frontline warrior can also withstand centipede sentinel attacks, relying solely on his own damage output, he simply cannot penetrate the centipede sentinel's thick armor and must rely on the team's archer and mage. And this is just the beginning. After just a few more steps, Gareth, walking at the front, discovers the second centipede sentinel corpse. "Archer Flynn, how long did it take us to kill one centipede sentinel just now?" Gareth asks somewhat incredulously. Archer Flynn likewise answers with wide eyes. "Captain, with all 5 of us dealing damage, killing one centipede sentinel takes at least over 10 minutes. This guy has already killed 2. As the tomb passage gradually deepens, centipede sentinel corpses appear one after another before them. As the team's top damage dealer, Archer Flynn's worldview is somewhat shattered. "Captain, what kind of monster was that guy? Less than an hour has passed, right? That guy has killed at least a dozen centipede sentinels. Is his damage output alone higher than our entire team combined?" And Captain Gareth Bright's face is also full of disbelief as he raises his lamp to carefully observe the monster corpses on the ground. "That guy seems to have burn attack methods, but burn attacks alone definitely don't have this much output. Could he be an S-rank professional? But aren't there only a few S-rank professionals in Capital City? This is really bizarre." Gareth Bright's class is C-rank heavy armor warrior. which among all class ranks is only one level higher than the lowest D-rank class, belonging to the edge between making a living as a professional or giving up being a professional and becoming an ordinary person. However, this doesn't diminish Gareth Bright's unwavering enthusiasm for choosing to become a professional. His childhood dream was to form a professional team, explore dungeons, kill monsters, and high enthusiasm coupled with righteousness are his greatest strengths. Because of this, he was able to become captain of this professional team despite being a C-rank professional. In this 5-person team, everyone gathered together because of Captain Gareth Bright. And as their coordination grew, they gradually became a team that could make a living obtaining loot from dungeons. As captain, Gareth Bright is very gratified and increasingly motivated. Walking in the tomb passage, he jokes to Archer Flynn behind him. "Archer Flynn, after completing today's objective, let's go to the tavern for a drink. Aren't you already 18? Time to learn to drink. Heard you have a crush on that girl from the jewelry shop. Tonight, let Drake give you some advice." The youngest and naturally shy Archer Flynn is immediately embarrassed. And before he can speak, the team's healer Lyra Snowfall complains, "Captain, don't lead Archer Flynn astray." Ha ha ha! Berserker Drakestone, walking at the rear, also laughs heartily. "That's right, Archer Flynn, let me teach you a few moves." Mage Blaze Yang mercilessly undermines him. "Listen to Drake. How many times has he been dumped himself? Who said I got dumped?" The entire dark, narrow tomb passage is immediately filled with joking laughter. Though Archer Flynn's face is flushed, the corners of his mouth carry a hint of smile. He really likes this atmosphere. Archer Flynn turns his head, smiling at Drake getting roasted at the tail end of the team, when suddenly the keen perception granted by the Archer class makes him see what seems to be a shadow behind Drake. "Drake, watch your back!" Archer Flynn urgently shouts, but it's already too late. He witnesses with his own eyes Drake, who is still looking at him and smiling, being pierced through the chest by a pitch-black dagger. -993. A massive damage number bursts from Drake's body, his health bar almost instantly reduced to a sliver. At this time, Captain Gareth Bright and the others walking ahead hear Archer Flynn's alarmed cry, turn around, and just in time witness this tragic scene. Healer Lyra Snowfall, right next to Drake, is frightened into panic, hastily raising her staff to cast a healing spell on Drake. Drake's health bar barely rises a bit when suddenly 2 more black blade flashes across his body. 2 consecutive damage numbers burst forth, and his last sliver of health is instantly completely emptied. Drake is dead. He didn't even have time to turn around and see who the owner of that black dagger in his chest was, falling to the ground like a puppet with cut strings. Who? Archer Flynn, witnessing this scene firsthand, is shocked and horrified. With trembling hands, he knocks an arrow, shooting toward the black shadow behind Drake, but shoots empty air. The black shadow that killed Drake vanishes again in the dark tomb passage. As captain, Gareth Bright watches his team member suddenly die violently before his eyes, and can't help but roar hoarsely, while raising his shield and rushing over to protect the fallen Drake. But Drake has already stopped breathing. "Archer Flynn, illumination arrow!" Gareth roars angrily. Archer Flynn shoots an arrow with light, pale illumination, immediately lighting the entire tomb passage like daylight. Yet nothing can be seen. Just then, a black shadow drops from the tomb passage ceiling like a ghost, this time targeting the team's only healing class, healer Lyra Snowfall. "Lyra, watch out!" Seeing this, Blaze Yang suddenly pulls Lyra, then hurls a flame burst from his hand. The explosive fireball detonates on the black shadow, but bursts with a number that makes him somewhat despair, -315. Having taken a hit, the black shadow seems somewhat angered by the thwarted plan and turns, the dagger in hand stabbing into Blaze Yang's chest. Feeling the stabbing pain in his chest, Blaze Yang sees, beneath that black shadow, a pale, clean face sneering at him. "Heh, killing you works just as well." Then massive damage bursts from his body, -1332. As a fragile mage class, he simply cannot withstand such high damage, and that black shadow strikes once and vanishes again from everyone's sight. Blaze Yang is also dead. Before dying, he leaves one sentence, "Captain, it's a human professional." Gareth Bright's eyes nearly split open with rage, his mind thundering. In just a few seconds, Drake is dead, and Blaze Yang is also dead. Rage flooding his head, his heart nevertheless gains a trace of fear and panic. His long sword swings wildly but hits empty air. "Who are you?" However, at this moment, the hidden black shadow seems to have tired of playing and slowly reveals itself before him. It's a young man with triangular eyes and a pale face. From his appearance, his age seems no older than Archer Flynn. The black dagger in his hand confirms his class, assassin. The young man looks at the shocked and panicked Gareth Bright like toying with prey, then smiles sinisterly. "Why? Of course it's because you're just a bunch of worthless C-rank trash classes. While I'm a rank? If I want to kill you, I kill you." Gareth Bright's face contorts with rage, but fear fear surges in his heart. The strength of an A-rank assassin professional is so terrifying. Now only 3 of them remain. They're not a match at all. Lyra, Archer Flynn, run! Gareth Bright suddenly roars, charging like an enraged bull with shield raised fiercely at that person, abandoning all attack techniques, only wanting to use the most primitive means to delay a bit more time. Captain! Lyra Snowfall cries out, but Archer Flynn suddenly awakens, remembering what Captain Gareth Bright once told them, and forcefully pulls Lyra Snowfall fleeing deeper into the tomb passage. There's still someone ahead who might be able to save them. Deep in the tomb passage, a massive centipede sentinel slowly falls, and Xander skillfully extracts his spear from its body. Ghostly essence immediately emerges from the sentinel's corpse, more intense than those from previous sentinels. This guy seems to be an elite leader. Sacrifice the centipede sentinel's essence. Xander expertly guides his spear tip toward that essence, and finally, a pleasant sound rings in his ears. Centipede Centurion's essence successfully sacrificed. Talent trait acquired. Spectral Grudge Strike. Finally got it! Xander doesn't have time to carefully examine this new trait when panicked, chaotic footsteps sound from the tomb passage behind. Xander alertly turns around, only to see the newcomer is actually the healer from that professional team he encountered earlier, Lyra Snowfall. The girl's steps are stumbling and panicked, her originally white cloth robe covered in dirt, tears streaming down her delicate face. Upon seeing Xander, Lyra Snowfall actually falls to her knees at his feet. Please save them! Xander helps up this healer who once gave him Light's blessing, asking, "What happened?" Lyra Snowfall's words are incoherent. The captain held him off, telling Archer Flynn and me to run quickly. Archer Flynn was also caught up to, "Please save them!" Lyra Snowfall, who Xander had just helped up, kneels down again pleading. From her chaotic words, Xander keenly pieces together the truth of the situation. According to this professional team's style, they would never risk encountering monsters that could cause a total wipe. So the only possibility is that a human professional is hunting them, and in such a short time has already killed 2 of her teammates, should be at least an A-rank professional. Xander once again helps up the kneeling Lyra Snowfall, saying only one sentence, "Lead me there." Xander directly activates ultrasonic enemy lock. Sure enough, 2 red dots close together appear in the tomb passage, seemingly engaged in combat. If one is Archer Flynn, who Lyra Snowfall said was caught, then the other should be that hunter. Such high agility is also the first time Xander has seen since the awakening ceremony. "He's an assassin, right?" Xander asks as he rushes. Lyra Snowfall still has that soul-lost expression of grief and despair, but she widens her eyes, struggling to recall the scene that just happened, saying, "After he killed Drake, he vanished in an instant." Indeed, an assassin class. Xander immediately has a grasp of the situation and activates Phantom Step beneath his feet, movement speed surging. At the same time, he doesn't dare leave Lyra Snowfall, a healer with no self-defense capability, alone behind.